Okay, Pappy's back this week. Just want to touch base with you. No shop is a shop without air, and this shop is no exception. All that little pancake compressor, all I got right now, and it'll pump up a tire, and that's about it. And that's all I've had for quite some time. I do have two larger compressors that came out of my old shop from years gone by, and some of them were stored in school buses, and some were had to sit outside. I've got two of them, and I need to see if I can get at least one, hopefully both of them to work, because I need both. I need the CFMs for the bead blaster, and that's what I'm wanting to do is get the bead blaster and powder coat oven back online, and so I can start powder coating some things for the Firebird and get the shop up and going. I'm still in that process of organizing and finding things and putting things away. And the past few weeks, I was able to put a tarp underneath the deck, which has given me a place to put the compressors out of the weather, even though they've had to sit in it off and on under tarps for a while. It's under a tarp again, but this one is under a deck, so hopefully it won't deteriorate and get holes and leak and all of that. I think I've got all that squared away. And that was a job, putting that up in a kind of a windstorm. But anyway, felt like a one-armed man trying to hang wallpaper. It's not easy. But it's done. That part's done. And I tried to film it, or put the camera on and show you, but the tarp kept blowing around me and there was no good footage. Here's what I attempt to do. I bought 7 of these or 8 of these from Home Depot, and I got 1 stick of landscaping timber. And if you look at that pocket, it's rounded down in the bottom. So what I'm hoping is I can cut off about a 4-inch section of that and put it into this pocket and put that on the bottom. Drill through on top and put me a 2x4 block up here on top and drill through all of that and sandwich it with a carriage bolt to the base of that compressor over there. And the wood will keep from cracking the block in my hopes. I've done this before, but it was a different type of block. It was solid. It wasn't, hollow like this one. I'm hoping this will work a little better so it doesn't rust the bolt head off, because it won't be down in the dirt. It'll be elevated a little bit. And then the pressure treated wood shouldn't be attacked by termites. And in theory, I did see last year when I was tearing out that wall that they have added unpressure treat, and I had a piece of pressure treat right next to it and they didn't even touch it. So obviously termites don't eat it. I don't think any other insects will either. So with that said, this ought to last a good while. But I've got to get air in this shop. I really do. You can't have a shop without air. So that's what we're going to do. Today we're just going to try to mount the legs to these compressors and get them anchored down. And then I'll come back with plumbing and wiring later. But that'd be a good start for today. And that's where we're at this week. So just watch me work. That will do just fine. There, this is what I was looking for. Got a rounded edge. I don't know if you can see this. And this block, this will fit down in here. I'll bore through it and through a 2x4 on top. And then the leg of the compressor go to that, and these will be my anchors. I'm going to stop this while I cut these pieces out and get them shaped and fitted, and then we'll install them on the compressor legs, and I'll turn this back on when I'm doing that. Okay, guys, here's the contraption I've come up with. All right, I took these 8-inch, if you can see them, 8-inch carriage bolts. I tack welded a washer, if you can see it, tack welded it to hold it in place. And what I'm going to do, remember the rounded timber I cut in two, and then it was already rounded, which inside these bricks, it's rounded. So I'm going to put this in here, run this bolt. Let me see. Run this bolt through like that. And in theory, with that, I'm going to lay 2x4 block down. And then we're going to put the compressor leg down on there. And we're going to do that 7 times. 3 on one, 4 on the other. So I want to put this camera back up on the mount, and so you can see how this all goes together. You know, I'll put another fender washer up on top right here, and then tighten it down. And that welded nut should be enough to hold everything in place, you know, at least until I get it snugged up, and then it'll pull tight. And so that's what I've been doing this afternoon. I've got all this ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and attach them to the compressor. So with that said, just watch me work. Okay, that does it. We got the compressors mounted somewhat to a base. Now we got to move on and get some wiring and plumbing done to them, so I'll have air in the shop. And I'll take you around and show you what I did to this uh, area to make a covered area for the compressors. What I did here is I got me a tarp, an 8mm tarp, and I put it under the deck to shed the water. This has a fall to it, and it was drooping in the center, so I ran some wire and pulled it tight to keep the tarp from dragging or drooping, so it won't fill full of water, and it'll just run off the end down here at the end. And eventually I'd like to put some type of a siding on this to where it just keeps the water off of everything under here, you know, in case of blowing wind and rain and everything. But you can see these old compressors are beat up just from sitting around. They used to look a lot better when I took them out from my other shop. I had a lean-to back there as well, but they stayed a lot drier, it seems like. These were sitting, one of them was, you know, in a proper lean-to area. The other was up against the bus that I had all my other stuff in, with the tarp over it, and the tarps kept blowing off. And anyway, but as you can tell, I think the pumps are still okay. It sounds like it's trying to make compression. You can hear that one. And same with this one. I just don't know about the electrical motor. You know, all of this stuff has probably gone bad. I just don't know till I try it. The wiring looks terrible going in here. I'm gonna have to replace all of that too. So, you know, it's just weathered and set out. So all of that needs to be done and fixed. May have to buy a motor or a compressor or something. I don't know. I've just got to do what I got to work with, and I don't have the funds right now. Barely got the funds to, you know, buy what I bought today. I was just amazed. I priced the wire today, and I mean, the price of wire in the past 5 or 10 years is like tripled. You know, it's like $80 to get a length of wire to run out here to wire these compressors. And then I got to buy breakers, which they've all doubled and tripled. I guess it's the cost of copper and all the precious metals have gone up. But I know they don't look like much. Together they made about 15 CFM, and that's what it takes to bead blast if you're wanting to. And they had a hard time keeping up. I really need bigger than that, but that's all I got. Hopefully they'll work. They don't look pretty. I bought this one in the mid 80s. I bought this one late 90s, early 2000s, because that's when I started bead blasting and powder coating back in those days. So anyway, I hope this will work out, and that's it for this week. Give us a thumbs up. I know this is a poor channel, but we could use all the help we could get, and eventually someday, hopefully, we'll get monetized and get a little help with the offset some of the cost of everything, and we can get going. But right now, we're just going to get by the best we can and do what we can. But give us a thumbs up. Check back with us every week. I'll try to get a video out every week of some sort. And until next week.